Welcome aboard a lovely Thursday edition of the program. I have to tell you, I'm not totally comfortable with my surroundings right now. We're going to need some Lysol spray and a black light for the amount of Wolverine sex juice that's been in this place the last 4 hours. Karsh and Jansen chopping it up for 4 hours. Somebody get me a blanket and some wet wipes.
I got the squeegee. I'll bring it in.
Roberto, get in here and treat it like a window washer on a skyscraper. Wipe this place down. Tell you one thing, Jansen wore an aggressive shirt today. It's like some track team shirt, but the back of it says run people down and beat the hell out of them or something. I go, my goodness.
No, I believe that was based on the topic they did yesterday, talking about who in this office could beat up Jansen or something like that. And I think he jokingly said he's going to wear it. He's got the perfect shirt to wear tomorrow.
One person. I think you'd need 3 or 4 people, one of which would have to bite the bullet and bite his Achilles tendon and rip it off of his body. You'd have to treat it like a jailhouse fight. You're not going to beat that guy. He's a mountain of a man.
Big guy.
The other 2 guys get the hell kicked out of him. The third guy's got to be able to get down on the Achilles and bite it. You just got to get after it. Try to tear it away from his leg. Then he's hobbled. You could kick the hell out of him. But it would take 3, 4 people, and at least 2 guys willing to probably get thrown through a plate glass wall. So there is that. That discussion must have been short.
And that doesn't sound like fun.
No, but it's the same with TJ.
I think how it started, though, was early in the day, I was back here talking to Kang and Evan a little bit, and Tom was back here too, and somehow it got brought up, could myself, Tom, Kang, and Evan, the 4 of us, beat up John Jansen?
If one person was... Well, I've already described how it would have to go down.
But that's at least how I think it got started. And then I believe that was when he said, I got the perfect shirt to wear tomorrow. But you're right, it is an aggressive shirt. Yeah.
I didn't know the context. Then I think he was offended I said something about it because he didn't talk to me. Oh well. No, the Malik McDowell stuff they were talking about is interesting, I guess. But I got to be honest with you. I don't feel much sympathy. I mean, I don't wish it on anybody, but... Knowing what I know about Malik and his time at Michigan State, knowing what I know about that last year, knowing what I know about who he is, what he is, I don't really think it was ever going to end any different than this. There's a reason he fell from a top 10 pick to the second round. There's a reason he was viewed as a complete cancer on the team. He was a big reason MSU only won 3 games. Defensively, he almost single-handedly ruined them. They were better without him, exponentially better. Because Malik wanted to do whatever Malik wanted to do. He was disrespectful to multiple people. He was a problem on and off the field. And ultimately, without the senior leadership, with guys like Shalik Calhoun and that group, he ran wild. That's a statement of your character. It's a statement of your integrity. So, no, I don't wish anyone to get into an ATV accident. But whether it was an ATV accident or he was released because he doesn't listen to coaches and he's MFing people in the middle of the weight room and he's doing whatever he wants to do on the field and not adhering to the scheme and the responsibilities, it was always going to end like this. The Seahawks releasing him. There's a reason every team passed on him in the first round. There's a reason that his last year went the way it did. He listened to no one. Thought he had all the answers, was openly disrespectful to a number of people. And look, how embarrassing is it that you're barred from traveling with the team? That's how bad it got. So I guess my point to Doug was, you can look at it and go, that's sad, but I don't feel a great degree of sympathy. You are what you are after a certain amount of chances. That's who you are. Jameis Winston, that's who you are. And while Malik hasn't done criminal acts, that doesn't mean you have a great degree of integrity or discipline. And when things like this happen and his career's over, his career was over before it started. If you go to the NFL, you go to a big-time college program, and you do not fall in line, you do not understand discipline and hard work and respect and a hierarchy, you're never going to thrive. It will always end this way. And there might be a mercurial talent who's good enough to overcome all of those things, but that's 1 in 1,000. Could Malik have been whatever he wanted to be? Sure. but it was evident he was never going to attain that level of success. That 2015 was his zenith. Surrounded by NFL players on, one of the better defenses you're ever going to see. And he was a part-time guy, essentially. Rotate in, rotate out. Job was a lot easier. Had a ton of veteran guys to keep him in line, keep him in check. And he thrived. He made splash plays. But he was never going to be the guy that was going to play 50, 60 snaps because it requires maturity. It requires being a leader. It requires respect. It requires discipline. It requires basically giving yourself up in order to maintain what you're trying to accomplish schematically on the field. He was never going to do those things. And I wish I knew how bad it was as it was happening. But, of course, hindsight being what it is, you find out things after the fact. Yes, I knew he was a problem. Yes, I knew a couple incidents. I didn't know the full scope until we had hit Thanksgiving. And then at that point, you realize this kid probably has no future in football. It's just how it works. So, yes, the accident that ended his career is tragic, but I'm just a big believer his career would be ending soon anyways. Because he does not possess what it takes. And that's his fault. The same way Maurice Clarett, that's his fault. Mo Clarett did that to himself. Nobody else. I have a hard time feeling sympathy for guys who use up all their chances. I do. I think you can view something as sad without feeling a great degree of sympathy. I feel sympathy for Ryan Shazier, who did everything right and became an unbelievable player, and in one play almost lost his life. And his career is over. Ryan Shazier didn't make a dumb choice that put his career at risk. Ryan Shazier was giving up his body and making a play. I feel sympathy there. You decide you're going to drag race ATV, sorry, dumb. And again, don't forget, that Malik McDowell at one point was viewed as a top 10 pick. He did it to himself with repeated issues. And just because a guy doesn't get busted with drugs, just because a guy doesn't, drag race cars or get into domestic spats, doesn't mean he's a good guy. Doesn't mean he's doing the right things. He wasn't doing the right things. And nobody could get through to him. So this is the end result. This will always be the end result. That's all I was trying to communicate to Doug. And unfortunately, crosstalk, it doesn't lend itself to full explanation of kind of why do you feel the way you feel. It's sad. Hope the kid gets help. Hope the kid can turn his life around. But I'm not going to waste a lot of time feeling sympathy for him because I believe it was always ending up this way. I don't know if you haven't. I'm not going to do some who's the biggest bust of all time. I'm not interested in doing those topics. But I'll give you a take on that, just like I'll give you a take on L.J. Scott and his stupid remarks. We'll get into that. Jerry Jones, we'll get into that. Got a Stafford thing to get to. Got somebody else disrespecting Michigan State and Mark D'Antonio and not able to pronounce his name. I even got Stan Van Gundy bumping his gums about topics, including the NFL and his time here in Detroit. We're loaded today. So, rock and roll. But I just felt, you know what? Let's do the Malik stuff right out the gate. I know Doug had brought it up, and Kang had brought it up to me while I was waiting to be invited into the studio. And, yeah, it just is what it is. If it makes me a bad person because I don't feel a great degree of sympathy, fine. You can think whatever you want of me. But I'm giving you the reasons why. I feel bad for people who do things the right way and have bad things happen to them. I'll spend my time and my energy giving those people sympathy. But when you've been given everything and you've spit in the face of everyone who's tried to help you, I don't feel a whole lot of sympathy. When you make a bunch of bad choices, not a great degree of sympathy. And that's that. Let's move along. Let's get started today. This Sunday, National Chicken Wing Day.